And just like that, he appeared, as if by magic. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to my 8 p.m. live stream. So, a big warm welcome to everyone who is joining the stream. And can I ask you to do the normal, please? So, if you're joining this on Periscope, make sure you use your finger and give it a digital workout. Send as many hearts as possible. If you could send a super heart, that's equally great. And of course, share it, which is very important. So if you could do those things, that would be great. Hi, Tosca, Chris, Jed, Harry, Prissy, all you folks who are watching. That's great. Thanks for coming on the stream. I had a little break last week, just from the everyday stress of live streamings, but I'm back twice as fit as ever to try and get things done. Tony says, looks like I'm the first to arrive. Can I pour myself a drink and raise a glass to David and the rest of the gang? Hey, Tony, pour yourself an extra glass and have it to me. Anyway, thank you all very much for being here. And oh my goodness, we've got an international man of travel amongst us, Chris, who's off to Venice next Thursday. Chris, the last time I looked at St. Marco Square, it looked pretty quiet actually, so you might get somewhere nice to sit, have a coffee, and admire all the wonderful architecture all around the centre of Venice. Ooh, what's this we've got? We got the first troll on the line. You know, the thing about trolls, I'm not sure if we've got any moderators on. Trolls should, of course, be wiped out. It's actually funny that they, as we can see with this little troll, they kind of wait, and then they come on and they tweet the garbage, and they think that somehow that they get away with it. No, they won't. They will be absolutely squashed. Someone says Jackie's is on London. She's off to London on Sunday, and Aussie's off to 5 Mile Town, the exotic 5 Mile Town. I doubt many of you have been in 5 Mile Town. I have been, and yeah, I probably wouldn't want to spend a couple of days there, is all I would say, though. But fine place, some fine people. I know a few people from 5 Mile Town. Anyway, someone says, hi, David, not on Twitter tonight. I'm not sure if I've been on Twitter. No. Well, I will get the troll, though, but the troll probably needs to make a reappearance, and then I'll get him. Freda says, you said that just as I came on, you're not a troll. I'm sure you're not a troll, Freda. I didn't mean that. There are other trolls around. Jed, if you're watching this one, beware of trolls. Wipe them out. Don't want to see any trolls in the line. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? So much to talk about. There's been so much happening just before I came on air. Actually, the one thing that irritated me before I came on air, I saw a local journalist talking about the fact he'd been to the dentists, okay? Because the dentists have been pretty much closed apart from extreme emergencies. But now they've started to reopen for minor emergencies. And this guy was saying that, you know how you normally pay if you're paying to go privately. So you pay the cost of the treatment plus an extra 40 quid, apparently, £40 extra for PPE protection. Now, the thing about this that got me, and I don't know what you think, is that the journalist said he was prepared to pay it. Well, he shouldn't have been prepared to pay it. That's the thing. You know, we are. Lisa says she's scared of dentists. I go relatively infrequently to dentists, but I sure as hell ain't going to pay 40 quid extra for a cost which the dentists have taken on. And if the dentists have a problem with it, they should take it up with the government, not by passing it straight on to their punters. Yes, Sharon Jeeves 69 is a troll, Jed, and he needs to be wiped off the platform. Okay, there you go. Okay, I've wiped him. He's gone. So he's gone now, Jed. With these kind of characters, you got to be fast with them, otherwise they just pollute the timeline and spoil it. So anyway, one less troll. Maybe there'll be more as we go along. So I wasn't impressed with this sort of helpless. Oh well, we just got to accept it. I mean, that's pathetic, isn't it? And yes, Jeff, you're right. There's a lot to be angry about, but nonetheless, here we are. Okay. And I see more of you joining. That's great. Hello, Kath. Nice to see you. How you doing, Sylvia, Lisa, Jeff, all you guys, and Linda, of course. Always good to see you on the stream. Don Butler. Don Butler. What are we going to do about Don Butler? That's the question. Hi, Brian, by the way. Nice to see you in the stream. So the esteemed Labour MP for Brent, made lots of headlines yesterday and today when she was racially profiled by racist police officers whilst driving her car through, I think it was Brixton. So I'm going to take it apart. Let's absolutely take Don Butler apart. Don Butler is, of course, most famous, I think, famous for several things. Before we get into this one, namaste to my Indian follower. Nice to see you. And hello to Angela as well. She's famous for three things, right? She's the lady who asserted that 99% of giraffes are gay. Yeah, seriously, she really, really did suggest that. Now, hi, Mike. Not sure biologically how that one's working out, but that was her thoughts anyway. She also, Tosca, famously observed that when babies are born, they don't have gender. They do. They really do. Kids, boys and girls, from the minute we enter this world, we have gender. But Dawn didn't think that. And then the other thing that Dawn's famous for, she stated that apparently only trans people can comment on what is transphobia. So that's an interesting thought. So I noticed your comment, Jed. Is that because, does that mean like only criminals can actually define crime then, Dawn? So this is a lady with, let's be kind about it, a checkered past. Gay giraffes, trans people only being able to identify transphobia, and children not having gender when they're born. That was some of her interesting thoughts. So I think, we can say that she's certainly an interesting character. So then let's talk about what happened yesterday, shall we? Let's get to the meat in this sandwich. And what happened yesterday was, well, two things. Here's Dawn's story. Dawn was driving around Brixton, and please correct me if I'm wrong if it wasn't Brixton, but I think it was Brixton. Dawn was driving around Brixton, and guess what? The racist police stopped her, pulled her in, and this was just outrageous. And it's the sort of thing that simply has to end. And Sir Keir Starmer and the rest of the clown world went along with that. That was her story. And she got a lot of, and she's been on the media today telling us all about this racism, systemic racism. It's Hackney. Thanks, Jed. Thanks for correcting me. Another lovely spot, Hackney. Beautiful spot. You should have a picnic in Hackney sometime in a hazmat suit. So anyway, she, couple of things. One, she wasn't driving anywhere. She was a passenger. Milady was in the back of a BMW being driven. And the driver, who she claimed was a black guy, from every image that I've seen, appears to be a white guy. So this story begins to look a little bit tricky, doesn't it? So we have Milady Dawn Butler being driven around for lunch, I believe, out for a pleasant Sunday lunch. Her driver was taking her. It wasn't a taxi, by the way. Not quite sure what the circumstances are, but she was driven. And then get this: the car itself had tinted windscreens, tinted glass, so you couldn't see in to see if the inhabitants were whatever racial color they may be. So yes, Chris, I think it was a friend of hers who she called black. Of course, in this fluid world in which we live, um, and so I'm just checking here. In this fluid world, gender fluid world in which we live, I mean, he could be identifying as black and could be as white as a snowflake. Hi, Howard, by the way. Nice to see you on the scope. So I'm afraid Dawn Butler's story is a little bit questionable. And then we have to think a bit deeper, doesn't she? Yeah, actually, I'm just noticed, that's quite a good one. Angela points out, were they from the same household as they hadn't got masks on? Well, absolutely. Surely to goodness, such an esteemed advocate of mask wearing, such as Dawn Butler, would have made sure that if the driver wasn't directly from the same household, they would have both had to wear masks. And oh, by the way, I seen a question earlier from Chris. Have I worn my muzzle today? Nope. Will I be wearing my muzzle tomorrow when I go to the shops? Nope. I will not mask up. I've told you that. I won't wear a mask. So unless I'm completely forced to wear a mask. And of course, if anyone stops me and insists that I wear a mask, I would have to point out that I have an exemption from wearing a mask. And if they were then to query that, that would be a breach of my human rights. And I hope they've got super smart lawyers. But anyway, we'll maybe tackle masks, certainly tomorrow or later on in the week. I'll have a lot more to talk about masks. So then the question is this. So why was Dawn Butler, oh, sorry, the final bit of the story was the Metropolitan Police have subsequently clarified that the reason that the car was stopped in the first place was they had targeted, there was a number plate, a wrong number plate had been typed into the police computer, and this car was subsequently identified as one that perhaps needed to be stopped. So that was a reason for it, all perfectly understandable. Of course, what's going to happen is Dawn Butler is just milked it for all it's worth. She is undermining the police. Now, when you look at the sort of, I've been looking at some of the crime statistics for the area concerned. I've got them here in front of me. I do a little bit of research for this, you know. Angela, how wicked of you. Was she going to Barnard Castle? I'm looking at some of the crime stats for this area. Here's a few of them. This is for 1 month. 1 month, 4 weeks in this sunny area. Antisocial behavior, 565 incidents. Violent crime, 276. Criminal damage and arson, 86. Drugs, 72. Robbery, 36. Shoplifting, 15. Possession of weapons, 11. And that's what's been reported. I wonder how much wasn't reported. Don't you think that in such a crime-infested area, the police should be stopping and searching? The police should be doing everything possible to try and bring down the levels of crime, both violent and otherwise. And yet it seems that Miss Butler, Milady Dawn, she doesn't think that, appears to believe that black people really should be stopped in any regard for stop and search. Now, the issue here is that, of course, that stop and search is one of the few things that the police can actually proactively do to limit such crimes. It's absolutely reasonable of the, I mean, there's, Frida says, certain cars are targeted because of intelligence. Why would police make this info public? Yeah, generally speaking, it is. Stop and search is intelligence driven. Much as the BBC and others try to pretend that it's a really racist police force out there just waiting to crack down on black people in particular, that's so untrue and it's so unfair. But Dawn Butler was very happy to go with it, and Sir Keir Starmer was very happy to go with it, and the mainstream media, the BBC, Sky, ITV, they were very happy to run with it as well. So, you know, this just shows to me that there's a real seething hatred of our police, and it is most evident in certain political circles. I'm sure you would agree that this doesn't help good relations with the police in these crime-infested inner city areas, does it? So if it's not helping crime, helping fight crime, what exactly is Dawn Butler's agenda? Is it just a question of her damaging the plea? What do you think? What do you folks think? Why do you think she did this? Answers on a postcard. Whilst I do a little bit of technical stuff here. Simon says, nothing wrong with stop and search. I'd be happy and helpful if stop. Yeah, I guess most of us would. Well, Sylvia's right. I agree. Tosca's right as well. Yeah, you folks, you've all got it. She was virtue signaling. She was craving attention. She just wanted the camera. She wanted to luxuriate as this black oppressed woman in the back of a BMW being driven to lunch on a Sunday. How oppressed? How much more oppressed can you get than that there? However, I expect that the government, I imagine Cressida Dick will probably take a knee in submission to Milady Dawn. I imagine that there'll be an investigation into this one. I imagine that the officers concerned may well even be disciplined. Well, here's what they should do. Release the body cam. Release the actual coverage of... This is why police need to wear body cam, because it's one way to absolutely nail these kind of allegations. So if Dawn Butler is right, then the body cam footage will show this. And if she's wrong, well then, she really should be cautioned for wasting police time. She should be sacked by Labour. But do you folks think any of that's likely to happen? Because I don't. And you're right, not Zambuca. These stories aren't followed up. That's the whole point. This is a one-off hit job on the Metropolitan Police conducted by Dawn Butler for essentially grievance mongering, as far as I'm concerned, with a little bit of race. Yeah, there's somebody says it's racial grievance industry. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, this is actually the true agenda behind it. But so it's Dawn Butler, says young Angela. Yeah, so it's been very depressing watching the predictable race baiting of those like Butler. I mean, she's not the only one, obviously. There are people like David Lammy, people like Diane Abbott, who all exist within the London bubble, of course. And they spend a lot of time seemingly telling many people how racist this country is, despite the fact that it's provided a very good home to all of them. Isn't that strange? And Sunrise Shining says, I'm so tired of the racism card being played daily. Well, it's not so much even that it's played daily. It's the fact that the media run with it. Nobody ever challenges her. No, I haven't seen anybody on the media go back on and challenge her actually story with simple questions like, how were you racially profiled if the police didn't know you were in the car? Because it wasn't her car. And also, Dawn Butler, why did you say you were driving when you were being driven? Because they're not the same. They're really not the same thing. So, her story from the start was full of holes. But it's like the old maxim: a lie gets round the world by the time the truth gets its boots on. And that is absolutely what's happened in this story. So it's a hit and run. The Metropolitan Police have had reputation damage. Again, the racism card has been played. You want to say Jackie? Is it Jackie or Jack Kell? Jack Kell is saying that talk radio have questioned the story. Yeah, to be fair, the likes of Mike Graham, I think it is, on talk radio is a little bit better. But the BBC haven't questioned it. Sky haven't questioned it. ITV haven't questioned it. Channel 4 haven't questioned it. So that's the problem. Henry says her butler was driving. Well, you might well be right. Hi, Jackie. Just wanted to get that one right. I hate it. I try to. It's very hard to get everyone's name exactly right. But one of my pet peeves is when people get my name wrong. So I always like to do people the respect of at least hopefully getting their name right, especially when you're such regular and all good supporters of the platform. So Jackie, it is. Okay, so Don Butler, the person who thinks most giraffes are gay, also thinks that she's the victim of racial profiling, even though that was impossible in the car. So yeah, Chris is saying to me, Mike Graham was having none of it today. Well, good for Mike Graham. In fact, he's one of the few people around who actually questions back against these kind of false, fake narratives, which are relentlessly pushed by these woke Labour race hustling politicians. And that's what they are. And I just wish, we had more of a chance to talk about these things. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight is the incredible numbers crossing the channel in their dinghies, being rescued by the border force, being escorted to land, and thereafter to an endless life in this land of milk and honey. So how do you all feel about those things then? I mean, if someone says, yeah, one of my pet peeves actually is people getting David wrong. Yeah, I hate that. My name's David, call me David, not Dave, David. I've had a thing about that. If you want to annoy me, call me Dave. Actually, call me whatever you want. I don't care really. But I do prefer to be known by David. So what do you think then of, all this armada that you're crossing the channel? And then somebody's pointed out, and I did see this actually, did you see that they're actually flying some in from Greece? We are actually flying in some of those asylum seekers who hoarded up on the Greek islands. They were flown into the UK. I presume they're all here by now. So, what is this? This is kind of a shocking scenario. Now, in fairness, we have discussed this whole issue of illegal immigrants on this platform. And those who pay attention, and for example, when you've listened to my friend Rebecca Butler, she has spelled out several really good points in this actually, which aren't commonly understood. So let me try and summarize the legal situation. You see, governments have to operate within the remit of law. They really do. If you're a government and you sign up to an international committee, a treaty, then you kind of have to keep it, unless your name's China. Obviously, it's different then. But if you're a kind of your typical country, you sign up to international law, then you have to respect it and abide with it. And on the basis of international law, it is highly debatable whether these people can be called illegal migrants even. It's even more unlikely that under international law, they can be deported. Now, I know you're not going to like me saying that, but this is the reality. Jeff saying this is what they're entitled to: 4-star hotel, free healthcare, free money, free food. Why wouldn't they want to come here? Stuart says, "Don't block me today, Vancey boy." Tell you what, Stuart, you need to learn to address me properly, or you're going to find you're going to be blocked so quickly you won't know what happens, right? So, a little bit of respect, please. I welcome debate, but I also insist on respect. If you can't respect me, you shouldn't be on the chat on this live stream, actually. So yes, going back to my topic, people are. I understand your frustration. Harry says Pretty needs to deal with it, not talk about it. I agree. Angela's saying. So I'm just trying to get your comments here. If we abide by Tosca's comment here, international law, then the nation states are finished. Well, you're absolutely right, Tosca. So here's my solution to it, right? Because we are bound by these treaties. So what we need to do is tear them up. What we need to do is assert our national sovereignty. We need to say that, first of all, we're going to stop any illegal vessels crossing that channel. We're going to stop them. Whether we have to deploy every ship, every part of the Royal Navy, whether we have to deploy submarines, I don't care. We need to stop the Armada crossing, because once they get here, it becomes a massive problem. People, this is the thing that people don't understand. Yeah, Angela says, has Saudi signed the agreement? Of course not, Angela. They're way too sensible. But anyway, no one would want to go to Saudi. That's the only thing. People want to escape traditionally from Saudi, you know, if they want to retain their limbs and stuff like that. But the UK has to, I think, show real leadership. And you know, Tosca, this is the thing. International law will essentially destroy every nation state, because that's what it's designed to do. So essentially, as many people from the third world as possible are going to be allowed to stay in the UK if they get to the UK. So it doesn't take you to be a genius to work out, we got to stop them getting here. So I'd like to see that, for starters, that the UK basically rips up international law. Let's take us to the Hague Court, take us to the highest court in the EU, and try us for defending our own nation. Try us for that, please. If I was Prime Minister, I would love to be put in the dock for the crime of defending the British people. That would be absolutely fine by me. Any leader would think the same as this, by the way, not just me. So there's the first thing. In the second, and oh, by the way, when the vessels are stopped, I don't care if they go back to France. I don't care where they go. They're not coming into the UK. They're not landing in British beaches. They are not being given access to this country. We cannot allow the lawbreakers to get in. First thing. That then raises the, of course, the other thing is, I mean, and I know you folks all will feel this, whenever they say, the liberals say, but they're fleeing tyranny, they're fleeing war-torn countries. Well, like France. Is France war-torn? Is France a third world country? I mean, I know the standard of cuisine does vary, but I don't think it's a third world country. No, they're getting the hell out of France because, number one, they don't speak French, and number two, the welfare is better in the UK. It's perfectly obvious. Now, excuse me, what we need is honesty with the political class. Politicians should be honest with you and me, and those politicians should make it clear that legally they have all kinds of trouble, and therefore they are going to unilaterally decide to impose a blockade for all such vessels trying to get anywhere near British beaches. And when it comes to those that actually have arrived here, what needs to happen is they do need to be sent toot de suite back to France, because that's where they mostly all come from. I think there's very few coming from any other location that I know of. Now, can it be proven that they come from France? This is the legal issue. Well, no, it can't. Unless you've documented, you know, exactly where that vessel sailed from in France, then it may be difficult to get them back. But I would have assumed that, and I'm not sure in this one, and this is where, if I had Rebecca on the Periscope with me, she would know these things. I'm not sure if these vessels, I think they're too small to be picked up by radar. I mean, that's why it's extremely dangerous, of course, what's happening. The channel, it's a very busy shipping lane. So these migrants do risk their lives coming here. And of course, the people that are making the real money from it are the people smugglers. But where do you hear anybody talking about the people smugglers and the need to crush them as well? So, you know, this country will continue to be a magnet for the third world because we basically have essentially abandoned our beaches. When Churchill talked about fighting them on the beaches, Boris is essentially welcoming, greeting them on our beaches. That's the reality of where we are. And, you know, I don't wish harm to anybody seeking to come here. I just want to stop them, all of them, no exceptions. And of course, I'm trying to read some of your comments here, folks. It's a bit tricky. Can't read everything. Apologies if I'm missing some of your points. I'm trying to read and talk. It's like whistling and chewing gum. It's not as simple as it sounds. But yeah, the government, you know, ultimately the government carries responsibility for this one. Hi, Nigel. I can see this. Yes. Hello. How are you, Nigel? And the government is failing in its responsibility. Its primary responsibility is to the people of this United Kingdom, and that is to keep us safe. Now, if you look at those dinghies, if you look at those boats, they are pretty much full of young men. In fact, Christine makes the very same point. These are all young men coming in by sea. You're right, Christine, of course they are. And I've seen very little evidence. I think the only time I've ever seen a woman or a child is for the BBC or Sky cameras. Funnily enough, isn't that strange? You know, boat after boat lands on the beaches full of, you know, fighting age young men. And then the BBC turtles up and women and children. If at this time, if by this point you're paying any attention to the BBC or Sky, you're really you're really fooling yourself. And that's, again, there's a good point, actually. This is when they are caught, of course. What we don't know is, and we have no idea, how many come here and we don't even know it. You know, they land on a beach in the middle of the night and no one ever sees them. They just get in and they're sorted. Yeah, I mean, Jackie, this is the point here. These are economic migrants. I don't blame them, and that's it. And I agree with you. I do. I think it's, you know, if you were a poor person living in a poverty-stricken, dangerous country, it would be not unreasonable that you wanted to move somewhere better. So I understand their motivation. They want to come here. Some of them will come here for welfare benefits, for all the free stuff. They love the free stuff, just like a lot of the lefty core group loves the free stuff. But some of them may want to be able to provide skills and so on and so forth. But sorry, we don't need them. Like, we don't need one of them, because this country is full. Actually, England in particular, which is, I guess, where most of them are going to, is one of the most densely populated countries in the world, per mile or per kilometer. So you know, the future of England itself is endangered by this constant armada crossing the channel. Someone says, I am UK, it's full of immigrants. Yeah, well, you see, I mean, again, I don't necessarily want to win popularity contests by saying this, but I think that my immigration can be a good thing. This country, over the centuries, has taken in, for example, the Huguenots fleeing persecution in France. That was the right thing to do. This country brought in Jewish people fleeing persecution. Oliver Cromwell actually was the guy that brought the Jewish people back into the UK all those centuries ago. I think that was a good thing as well. I think immigration can be a good thing, but this isn't immigration. This is nothing to do with it. This is invasion. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. It's an illegal invasion. It may be a legal invasion, but invasion's still invasion. That's the point. And if these people, like, there are people, you know, who have gone through the hoops to legally settle in the UK. And I feel sorry for them, because they must feel so bad about the fact that they have to demonstrate this, that, and the other to do it legally. And meanwhile, these clowns arrive in their dinghies, and that's it. Boom, 4-star hotel. Off you go to Britannia Hotels, brackets immigration unlimited, and here's your welfare. Here's your free food. Here's your free. I'm not sure if they're provided with mobile phones yet. And if they are, I can only hope it's the latest iPhone, because, I mean, anything less would be an insult. But so there's actually a really good point that Linda's. Did you also see, folks, did you see that it's almost surrealist? Did you see the police moving to, I'm trying to get your comment there. It's just gone up the stream. The police arrested a guy who was filming the arrival of these migrants to our shores. The police actually went and arrested him. Again, you know, you're right, Jackie. Have to agree, it is opportunistic invasion. That's the truth. But what's most disingenuous is that when Boris Johnson and Priti Patel, I mean, I think Priti was out on the boats today. Well, what's she going to do? What's Priti Patel going to do on the boats? Is she gonna what? Is she gonna ram the dinghies? I don't think so. What the greatest likelihood she would do if she encountered a boat of migrants would be tow it back to the UK. And once they tow it to the UK, they stay in the UK. This is the thing that everyone has to understand. Once they get here, they ain't leaving. It's honestly the truth. Yeah, Active Patriot, that's it. Thanks, Linda, for reminding me. A chap called Active Patriot who's done a very good job filming a lot of the stuff that's going on around Dover and down in the South Coast, that part of the South Coast, was arrested by the police. What an absolute scandal that was. And again, what a strange way of policing to sort of divert their resource. I would have thought again, yeah. And this is a point this is a point that I want us to put this point up, because a couple of libs on social media have been on about. I think there was one in particular, Angela, because I saw your response. It was an excellent. It was this response. Salman Nabidi, of course, he was the guy who was rescued. His family were rescued by the Navy. He went on to repay the kindness of that. He eventually got into the UK by murdering 22 children and mums at the Manchester Arena. Do you remember that one, folks? Bringing these people in makes us unsafe. That's the fundamental thing. And actually, yeah, sorry, there's a good comment there I wanted to put out. They'll be parachuting in next up. Nothing would surprise me, But ultimately, it's because of the signal that this country sends out. We send out the signal that we are open all hours. Once you come here, no problem. We'll take care of you. 4-star hotel. And Chris, you're right. I mean, it's a good job that Nigel Farage has helped highlight the problem. Now, some people have said to me, well, you're a bit too hard on Priti Patel. She has to work within the law. And I think she's pointed out how difficult it is. Well, here's the thing, Priti Patel, and I used to be quite a big fan of Priti Patel, and she does have a cute smile. My issue with Priti Patel is you knew all these things before you've got into. I mean, the Conservatives have been in government for years. None of these things are a surprise. So when at election they beat their chests and tell us we're going to crack down on immigration, they're lying. They know the legal situation as much as I and others know the legal situation. So that the reality is that they they're just feeding us stuff that they know we want to hear. And because we then think, oh, phew, we've got rid of May. We've got Boris, the Churchill figure. We've got Priti Patel, Thatcherite figure. They will deal with immigration. Could it be more wrong? Could we have misjudged it any further? Tosca says Patel is the wrong person for the job. Boris said he was going to crack down, yeah. But the problem is, Angela, and this is my problem with politics, politicians will tell you what they think you want to hear. They do that so they get your vote. If your vote puts them in power, then bye-bye. They're not interested. They'll see you in 5 years' time. And that's where we are with this Boris government. We're going to have to wait another 3 years anyway, 3 to 4 years, before any judgment can be passed. And at this rate in time, this government is going to be wiped out. I believe, insofar as it's already gone back. And we're not talking about, I'm not going to talk about, apart from the bit at the beginning, about coronavirus tonight. But, this country has been transformed in ways I didn't think was possible. And you're going to see a lot more transformation. And we'll talk about it here as we enter. We're now well into August, and all the redundancies are coming. Sorry to say, really sorry, people are going to lose their jobs. It's a horrible, horrible thing, but it's going to happen. And I've been saying it here since April. And the evil day is pretty much here, but just watch the momentum gather as entire sectors are wiped out by this Conservative government. The same Conservative government that told you they were going to get tough on my immigration. And it seems that the only form of immigration, actually, they're going to get tough on. David Vance, you have some symbolism going on behind your head. I'm not sure everything I have is spoken straight out. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, am I the only person who feels that the Tories and Boris is, to use an expression, sold you all a pup when it comes to migration control? Am I the only one? I don't think so. I pretty much most of you folks watching this, and indeed some of my international viewers watching this, because they've said it to me. Yeah, like my friend Tosca here says, no, I'm correct. I mean, Tosca's over in Canada, and I know Canada's got its problems as well. But, you know, this United Kingdom, you know, it's within 80 years ago, we stood against the entire might of the Nazi hordes across the other side of the channel. I mean, we stopped them. Why can't we stop this lot of opportunistic migrants? And the answer is simple. There's no political will amongst the established parties to do it. Doesn't matter, Tories, Labour, Lib Dem. They are all the same. You know, in fact, to a significant degree, they are actually the same party. I could argue that if I wanted that. And of course, you know, what we need as a country to do is to rise up. We need to say to these political clowns, listen, you know, if you won't stop what's happening, then maybe we need to. You know, maybe there needs to be a people's armada. Remember the little boats that went across to the northern beaches back in 1940? Maybe the little boats need to go back out, only this time is to stop even littler boats and littler dinghies from entering our soil. You know, basically the British people need to find a backbone. That's the truth of the matter is, if I'm going to be straight talking, I may as well be straight with you people. And that is that the politicians have no bottle, and they, you know, they obfuscate around this one. They really don't. Someone says Britain First is on patrol in the channel. Well, I'm not sure what they're on patrol with, but you know, one of the things that bothers me is whenever Priti Patel applied for the Royal Navy to patrol, my greatest concern of all is the humiliation of watching the Royal Navy escort these migrants to our shores. Someone said it to me earlier today, and I guess, you know, you guys would maybe agree with this. When they talk about, oh, we've intercepted 10 boats today or 5 boats, whatever it is, intercept is the wrong word. They don't mean, intercept is a nicer word for they have escorted them to our beaches, to UK soil. And as I say, keep reiterating the point. Everyone that comes here, it's extremely unlikely any of them can ever be deported. It's not going to happen. Which makes me think then, I mean, how many of these people are there sitting in our, you know, around occupying 4-star hotels across the UK? How many of those are there? Well, by the way, if you like this, by the way, just quick reminder, if you're on Periscope, hit the stars button. I can watch you here. So hit the stars if you like what you're hearing, if you're enjoying it. And that way I know that that we're all, yeah, I mean, there's a comment. I kind of agree with this one. Whoever we vote in doesn't matter. The deep state have control. I think there's a significant substantive point behind that, actually. And there's another point Mike made. This is a good point. We need like a Viktor Orban or a Marine Le Pen. Well, let's face it, France needs a Marine Le Pen. Because the other thing in this that's driving me mad is this country pays, I think it's 100 million to the French. And in exchange for us paying the French 100 million, the French have undertaken to patrol the shore and stop this. They haven't done any of that at all. Trevor makes a good point here. Arrest at sea and then turn on a ship until they can prove their status or choose to return from whence they come. Plenty of freedom. Yeah, I mean, this is the British common sense that we need. Thank you very much for that comment, Trevor. Excellent comment. And you know, but surely you also make the point, Trevor, that, and again, I know you guys will agree with this. Where there's a will, there is a way. If you're real, one life lesson for me, to you folks, if you really want something, you can get it. Yeah, it is crucial, you know, that the will is there in the first place. Churchill had the will to resist an overwhelming force against him. Where's Boris's will? I mean, the most Boris can bloody well do is announce he's off to have a holiday in a tent in Scotland. In Scotland. That's, you know, So yeah, I think there's lots of people around, and actually, you folks, I mean, this is cheering me up here when I see the remarkable common sense of the people, both here and indeed some of you people from outside of the UK. Then I can understand that we could solve this. We could stop and bring the tsunami to a trickle, to a complete stop, if we wanted, but we don't. Or the politicians don't. They don't care. They're not bothered. In actual fact, I mean, I'm sure Labour's quite happy about it because obviously, these are future Labour voters, and no doubt they will, further increase pressure on government, which means more spending, which for a country which, by the way, at this point in time, must be going to the financial edge. I mean, how Chancellor Rishi is continuing to splash the cash, I don't know. But what I do know is it's your cash that he's splashing, and it's your taxes that will pay for them. Yeah, I mean, again, good comment here from the Matrix. Nightingale Hospital cost 8 million, taken down. 4-star hotels instead. Well, yeah, these are all good points. And Angela, you're right. We have lost our mettle. It's that kind of British resolve that has saved this country. And one of the things that worries me is, and it might be, I don't know, maybe it's the generation below me. I'm not the young man that I once was, but is there a lot of these politicians in their 30s and 40s, and do they really have the spine? Do they have the determination to actually clench their teeth and say enough and no more? I don't see it. I honestly don't. I think what they do is they play media games. They have special advisors who come up with all kinds of little soundbite policies. The soundbite policies are magnified through the legacy media, and you vote them in. And then once you vote them in, you voted for your own demise. Yeah, again, Angela raises the point: is the second wave now not coming? The Nightingale. Well, that's a good question. I don't believe there will be a second wave of COVID, but I think there may well be a second wave. But Angela, I'm going to keep that one for another night. I don't want to go into the topic of COVID. I've talked loads about that. I'll talk more about it actually, because you can't get away from the blooming thing. But I want to stick off it for tonight. I want to focus just fundamentally on this entire issue of the UK being seen as the softest touch in the whole of Europe, I believe, for these economic migrants to come here. And if the government would just, thanks, by the way, another nice comment, J. John, excellent, thanks. Never mind, I hear the politicians say, just pop on your mask and await further instructions. The UK has been invaded and exploited. So true. I agree. I want to help the vulnerable people in this country. And let's face it, after the economic whirlwind hits in the next couple of months, we're going to see millions of people, I believe, losing their jobs. I want to help those people. How is that facilitated? By funding all the cost that accrues around these people coming in from across the channel. So, it is really mad stuff. Super J says, I'm starting to think they're all actors on the stage. Have you noticed how, as people like Diane Abbott disappears, the Don Butlers pop up to replace them? Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. But here's actually, Joe Phillips makes an interesting point. Joe says, we're supposed to be racist, but they all want to come here. Well, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth, Joe? And everybody, like, we're told this is Don Butler who tells us institutionally racist country. The police are down on the backs of all these poor BAME people, and we're constantly, Black Lives Matter, all this fire going on around the issue, and yet there's millions want to come here. Why might that be? Do you think? Might it because, and this is the truth of the matter, the United Kingdom and the United States are amongst the least racist countries in the world. And whilst we're not perfect, if you want to see real racism, maybe try visiting the countries that these people come from in the first place, if you want to find out what real racism is like. That's the truth. That's an unvarnished truth that needs to be said. But the constant playing of the race card in the case of facilitating these economic migrants, I think, is it just doesn't hold up. Why would they want to come here if we're all racist? Why would they want to do that? And that's because this word racism has become a weapon that is now so effective that our civilization is actually burning and being destroyed on the back of the insult of the epithet racist. It closes down everything. And actually, if we don't stand up to it, it will close us down. Never mind cancel culture. The word racist will cancel all of our cultures. Our rich, spiritual, cultural, artistic, literary, everything we have in our culture is basically going to be jettisoned because my racism. And that is the truth of the matter, and that should concern everybody. I don't want this country to be judged on the basis of skin color, but it seems that some people, like the Don Butlers of this world, can't talk about anything else. And I don't want this country to be putting the requirements of opportunistic migrants from the third world ahead of the needs of needy people from the United Kingdom. Now, those statements, I believe, are absolutely fair. They're reasonable. I don't think any reasoned person can take issue with them. And if you do, let me know. But I think those are fair comments. And yet I know for saying that I will be called racist. But we have to get over that, folks. We have to get over it. Yeah, Henry's pointing out, obviously, if you follow the money, you will obviously find out a lot of what goes on. And again, as my friend Rebecca Butler did point out several weeks ago, the Serco were awarded almost $3 billion, folks, for basically outsourcing the government's housing of these asylum seekers. Now, they're not seeking asylum, I don't believe. They may arguably turn this country into an asylum, but I don't believe that Serco should be getting $3 billion. And that's just completely unacceptable. And again, Sylvia echoes the point, always follow the money. That's the key. And Chamberpot points out, the brother of the Conservative MP, I believe, is a director of Serco. But, of course, and I agree, Sylvia, Serco were rubbish. I think Rebecca Butler very eloquently explained that when she was speaking on this topic with me. And I understand that. But then again, yeah, they're rubbish. But, how many of these migrants are coming from 4-star hotels? Now, they're maybe not being run as 4-star hotels. I do understand that point as well. That is fair comment. But, let's face it, in every scenario, these people are better off. And in every scenario, we're worse off. And if there was a vote, let's have a referendum in this one. If you never mind the EU referendum, let's have a simple referendum. Do we want to stop all illegal migration from this country tomorrow? Just stop it. Policy. I reckon that would pass. We'd win it. And I don't think we'd win it, by the way, by a huge margin. I think we'd probably win that about 55, 60, 40. Because unfortunately, some people in this world in this country are so brainwashed that they actually think that you can have unlimited migration and no problems. And actually, even before COVID struck, the likes of the NHS, the likes of our schools, were being overwhelmed by the consequence of this massive immigration into this country. So the reality of the situation is that someone says to me, BLM is a pawn for bringing in the NWO. Possibly so. It's certainly proven very convenient, hasn't it? But Jeff's right. It'll never happen. Well, it'll never happen with this crowd of politicians we've got, and it'll never happen if the British people remain docile. And frankly, again, I don't want to talk about COVID tonight, but when I see the people so easily walking around like masked slaves, I do wonder. I really wonder. And then that's part of my brain. And the other part of my brain then says, but enough. We have to, as a people, we have to find the backbone and the strength. And, yes, I agree, Jeff, it's going to be really tough. But some of us must never bow the knee. We must never submit. We must never betray our country, even if the politicians do. But remember, somebody voted for the politicians. Somebody did. And those people need to be really careful next time round who they vote for. If they keep... that's okay, Jed. Don't worry about the connection. We're all... Yeah, there's actually... Yeah, Chris, that's a great comment. Stay home, save granny. Oh, one of the most cynical punchlines I've heard in ages. This relates to the English town of Preston, where the residents are being locked down. There is a lockdown in Preston. I think 3 people sneezed, and on the basis of that, it's a lockdown. It's coronavirus has come back. They I think it was the council or the local government anyway, were putting out the message, which is what Chris said: stay home and save granny. Don't kill granny. From the political class who sent elderly patients from hospital into the killing fields of the care homes. Now, honestly, when you talk about political cynicism, whoever constructed that soundbite is absolutely deplorable beyond words. And that's how it is. And that's why I am an enemy of, the political establishment. Joe saying, could Farage and Butler, Douglas Murray, Toby Young all come together and form a party? Well, I don't know. I mean, I certainly think we need something and deserve something much, much better than what we have. And actually, let me tell you this as well. I think those poor people seeking to come here, paying the money to the people traffickers, they deserve better as well. They need to be met with a wall of steel they can't get through. That's just it. And if that's what they're met with, they will go somewhere else. You know, they can enjoy the splendors that is France. They can twiddle off down into Spain or Portugal, wherever. I don't care. I only care about my country. You know, that's kind of what that's what we need to. I'm sorry, I'm seeing some comments here. I can't take them all in too quickly, but I did notice NHS workers for a 15% pay increase. No. Not at a time when, as I say, millions are going to lose their jobs, sadly, and you're going to see that. And we'll be talking a lot about this, folks, over the next couple of months. So it's a strange world we live in, folks. It's a strange world where people like Don Butler seek to further divide our people, to further alienate and put the police, who have a tough job, under pressure. It's a strange world we have where basically the UK government is not able to or unwilling to defend our borders. And, this is the world that we live in. Angela says, I was in rural France last October. It was empty. Yeah, Angela, that's because you're all here. That's why. You know, the awful thing is that, you have to laugh at this because it's absolutely so mad. The thing about France actually does have issues, not least about the fact that it's got a very young Muslim population, which is not particularly integrated, hence les banlieues around Paris, and hence the problems that you get in other French cities like Toulouse and like so many of them. I guess in one way, why would someone coming from Somalia or Nigeria settle in somewhere like Toulouse when they have everything to lose? Boom! When they can come to good old Blighty, get themselves down to Dover, up to London, and hang on, not very safe. Which brings us back to how we started this entire live stream, talking about the fact that, of course, violence is rampant in London, good old London town, thanks to Mayor Khan and his complete inability to take any responsibility for turning a wonderful city, which London was, into something not so wonderful. But I better not say it because I'd probably be even further suppressed by Twitter and YouTube and Facebook if I do. So listen, that's it from me for tonight. Hope you enjoyed being on as a solo run tonight. Hope you enjoyed it anyway. And I hope to be back with you later in the week. Can I also say, just before I go and before you all vanish, if you are able to support me on Alt News Media, net/donate. And I know some of you do. Thank you all very much for your very kind contributions. If you can do that, that helps to keep me going and help keep the whole ship, pardon the expression, the dinghy afloat. So keep the alt news media dinghy in the sea of media. That's enough puns for one night, David. By dropping a few pounds over there if you can. But more importantly, thanks for all your comments. It's brilliant to spend this time with you. It actually cheers me up to come on and talk to you folks, because I'm lucky to have some of the most sensible people around who choose to spend some time with me. So look, thank you all very much. Real pleasure to see you. And I'll be back on Wednesday night for definite. I am actually doing a broadcast tomorrow night on another channel, and I'll send you the details of that. You'll be able to watch that as we talk about probably what we've talked about tonight. But anyway, hopefully I'll definitely see you all Wednesday night. Thanks for your time, everyone. Take care and catch up on Wednesday.